Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Swiss Army Sports. This is episode 9 on September 24th in the Big 25. I'm your host, Will Spain, former long snapper for the Troy Trojans, also be Governors, and somewhat Houston Cougars. Joined by my side is the former center for the Hendrix College Warriors, Luke, the Nuke Wallman. Also joining us today, we have the producer, local Mississippi State frat boy, Michael Spain, and our first ever guest host coming all the way from Houston, Texas, Chase Cross, former kicker for the Troy Trojans, and Houston Christian. Remind me of their mascot?
Huskies.
Huskies. There we go. Welcome to our college football and NFL preview and pick show. As always, we do cover some other stuff as we go to our agenda. Wild week in college sports, dude. As far as coaches and injuries,
wild week in sports
in general. We're gonna give you our week 5 picks, all 4 of us. A slate preview for any games we did not touch on in those picks. Some breakout players for week 5. The best college football bets for week 5. Then we pivot to the NFL. Full week 4 picks for our NFL slate, giving our best NFL bets. Who to pick up on the waiver wire? Big fantasy guys over here. We're going to continue that trend. It's Ryder Cup weekend. American Pride put on the line in Bethpage up in New York. We're going to preview the Ryder Cup, Europe versus USA, and who's hot and who's not, as per usual on a Wednesday. And let's just dive right into it with these college football picks. I haven't even looked at y'all's.
No, we got to
be on it. Oh, that's right. What is going on in college sports? Bruce Pearl, after saying he was going to be the senator of Auburn, turns out, no, he's going to go be a U.S. senator, retires from Auburn basketball. Luke, initial reactions, dude.
He strong arms the university to hire his son. He retires a day before official practices start, so they have to hire his son. Like, they can't have an actual search. So this is either going to look great or it's going to absolutely backfire in their face.
So I heard they gave him a 5-year contract. Is that true?
The kid?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure.
Fact check. Chase, when you saw the news, Bruce
That's
Pearl
what I
retired,
heard too.
what happened? Yeah, what was your thoughts?
That's what I mean, honestly, like he's a Nepo baby, obviously, with, his son is the clear favorite to take the job over, kind of strong arm them. You would think you would want to give him a full recruiting cycle before, just letting him jump in. But the university really has no choice but to hire the son now. So
yeah, and we
little
just checked
crazy.
on it. 5-year contract, which is insane to give to essentially a nepo coach. Luke, you answer first, then Chase. Auburn basketball. How do they fare this year and in the years coming up under Steve Pearl?
I think this year they're fine. Just because you still have that Bruce Pearl recruiting class and all that. If they go far in the tournament, they'll be fine. But this is going to be a huge year for them. If they do not do well, their recruiting is going to hurt. No one's going to go want to play for him. And we're going to see this Auburn program that Bruce Pearl built up absolutely die.
Chase.
I feel the exact same way. I mean, they'll be good this year. They had a lot of returners from last year's team that went to the Final Four, and on top of it, I mean, they're going to be a good basketball team. It's a Bruce Pearl team, so I've got complete faith in them. But like you said, it could be, 2-3 years down the road, and Auburn basketball sitting at the bottom of the SEC, and kind of destroying everything his dad built. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see if he's got that same. I mean, really the ability to recruit high-level talent like his dad did, and then obviously get them to gel well and play above their level, which I felt like they did for a good portion of last year. So we're at to see.
A little fun fact for y'all. Chase Cross, nephew of legendary Troy men's basketball coach Scott Cross. Big Waffle House guy.
Big Waffle House guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of along the same line of thinking. I think they'll be fine this year. Do I think they could lose some games because Bruce isn't there? Absolutely. That they should have won originally. What I'm interested to see is because, as Chase I'm sure knows, once your head coach leaves or is fired, you have a 30-day window to enter the transfer portal.
Mhm.
will there be any portal players go anywhere else this close to the season? You're far enough out to where I think you might. I mean, Tahad Pettiford entered the portal today. Like, yes.
Seriously?
Yes. Tahad Pettiford entered the portal today. So, I mean, oh, no, I got fake accounted. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So it was I was actually gonna bring this up. A fake Rothenstein account
seriously?
got my ass bad. I was about to send it to y'all too. But I mean, he may leave, and he's being urged to leave too. After this year,
Yep.
I think Auburn basketball goes back to where they were before Bruce Pearl, like bottom feeders in the SEC. I just don't see him doing well, even with Steve. It's not Bruce. Nepo babies never work out in college basketball. They never work out in college football. It just doesn't work. You had to go for an outside hire here. I don't understand the move. 5-year contract's ridiculous. Now you're gonna get him for a good price probably, but still, if you want Auburn as a university to stay at that top level they have been, you can't go internal for this hire. You have to have another big external hire.
Or
Would,
at
yeah,
least
no, yeah,
somebody with head coach.
What do you think his buyout was? Like, what do you think it's going to be?
yeah. But let's look up the contract details here. While we're getting to that point, as we often do, we'll touch back on it. Dude, Mike Gundy, me and Luke did not see this coming. We had agreed that he was gonna be done after the end of the year, but we thought Oklahoma State, after 21 years, would have the respect,
See the let him finish.
decency
Yeah.
to let a man who played there and has coached there for 21 years to end it on his own terms. Let him finish out the season. No. I mean, no. And now, do I get it? With the greatest state of the team right now, you just lost to Tulsa at home. I mean, it's
Like
bad.
terrible.
Yeah. Tulsa is about as bad as it gets in the American this year. And we just saw Oklahoma State not even really be competitive in that football game. What I read
They
was,
destroyed him.
yeah. What I read is that boosters and people that donate to the school were not going to donate until Gundy was fired. So I understand from that standpoint, but still, something doesn't sit right with me. Luke, what do you feel?
Yeah, and I want to touch on these boosters. Like the 10, 15 years previous before him, they had like 3 winning seasons. Oklahoma State, because of Mike Gundy, has been great in his time there. He's had 2 losing seasons his whole time there. It was his first year, and then his obviously last year when they went 0-9 in the Big 12. Everyone kind of forgets they were a play away from the college football playoff like 2 years ago. I mean, I get firing him at the end of the year, but he was there for 21 freaking years, and he had 2 losing seasons. This isn't Alabama. This isn't like your Auburn or your Tennessee. This is not your big blue blood program. It's Oklahoma State. You're in the crappy Big 12. It's just a crap move by Oklahoma State.
I agree. Chase, what do you think?
Honestly, I understand the decision-making progress just because of the product that's been on the field for the last 2 years. And I will say, these power programs now with the amount of money and the amount of NIL and the amount of resources like all of these power schools provide, they kind of want a return on their investment.
No,
You know
I
what I
get
mean?
that.
So it's a little bit different than, what we'd see in the past where, like you said, he did build Oklahoma State. Like there's no Oklahoma State without Mike Gundy. But at some point, you also want some ROI with how much you're investing into that football program. And I mean, it's just unacceptable to lose to a school like Tulsa, who hasn't beat them in, I think it was 70 years or something like that. Ridiculous. Or 75 years at home. Or, I mean, it was, you can't, that's a terrible loss. And then the product that they put up against Oregon, I mean, they just couldn't move the ball, couldn't defend. I mean, the poor in special teams. I mean, it just at some point you just got to make a change and get new scenery. So I understand both sides, but man, he's an incredible coach and put Oklahoma State really on the map and brought them to levels that I don't think many other coaches could have done in
Wholeheartedly
college
agree.
football. So props to my gun. But
If this is not the NIL era, this doesn't happen. I don't think he gets fired. Period. I think they let him continue his job.
Mhm.
But because of this era, they had to let him go. Pivoting to the other Oklahoma school, Oklahoma University, that is. Mateer. We're big on Mateer over here on the pod. Until now, surgery. Out for at least 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Time of year to do it, dude.
I know.
I mean, this is a tough stretch for them. They
Great
needed him.
timing.
Yeah, a Texas fan. I mean,
Great timing.
I mean,
I'm feeling a lot better about our chances now.
I'm sure you are. Luke,
but
yeah,
That
tell
boy
me
was
about Michael
balling.
Hawkins Jr.
so Michael Hawkins Jr. stepped in last year for Jackson Arnold. So it's not like you're throwing in someone who has not played at that level. I mean, he's obviously not great. He's not even Mateer, but he's not just like some like group of 5 transfer up that never played, or he's a true freshman. He's got some experience of playing at this level in the SEC. Now, Brent Venables has a great defense. I think that is going to have to carry them. They got really lucky because I think on his where Mateer's out, they get 2 bye weeks. So instead of missing 5 games, they're missing 3, I think. I could be wrong about that.
I think you are right.
So
No, that's correct.
they lucked out enormously with that. And I think this defense is really going to have to step up, and Oklahoma is now going to have to establish a running game if they're going to want to win some games.
I do still think they'll beat Texas.
Yes.
I'm not sold on Texas at all.
No shot.
I just want to, dude.
I have my. I'll be completely honest with you. That defense is phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, you watched the Ohio State game, kept Texas in it the entire time. I mean, and then they've had a cakewalk schedule since. Arch finally looked good last week. I think
Who'd y'all
that's the
play?
missing piece because Sam Houston State.
Okay, I just
bottom
wanted you
of
to say that.
FBS. But all I'm gonna say is that I mean that defense is absolutely loaded, and all the positions around Arch Manning. I mean, they're top of the line 5 stars everywhere you look. Ryan Wingo's a dog. They got 2 great running backs with Wisner and C.J. Baxter. So I mean, you're looking at a great football team. They just got to get their quarterback to play well. And you know what? We got to give a shout out to the other Troy boy, Matthew Caldwell.
Dude, I've been calling for
coming
Matty
in there and-
Caldwell since game
I'm
one.
just saying he's looked good. He's looked good. So
Absolutely. Moving on to our picks for Week 5 of college football. We are in agreement about 3 games. So we'll touch on those first. Notre Dame heading into Fayetteville, Arkansas. We've all got the Irish here, and I flirted with this game.
I also did. That offense for Arkansas, they they're 2 plays away from being 4-0.
100%.
And you're now at home against a Notre Dame team who is also choked in the big moment. I would not be shocked if Arkansas comes out on top in this game.
Me neither.
I expect them to cover.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
No, 100%.
I think Pittman's on his way out. So I don't know if this team's bought in, especially after losing to a G5 team in Memphis and losing in heartbreaking fashion the way they did both weeks. Notre Dame's got something to prove still at this point. I think wholeheartedly they believe they can still be 10-2 and get in which playoff bias definitely goes towards Notre Dame. They could be 10-2 and still get in the playoff. They've got to blow out Arkansas, so I think they'll try to blow out Arkansas. But Arkansas's offense, as you saw, highest rated in the country. These dudes can score. If they don't turn the ball over late, they're 4-0. We're talking about Arkansas being a potential playoff team.
Yeah.
So I think you got to take it with a grain of salt, but I do like the Irish here going on the road. I don't even know if Hog Fables can get up for this one. I think there'll be a lot of Irish there. Chase?
Honestly, I mean, I think Notre Dame's still a really good football team. If you look at the way they played Texas A&M, I think Texas A&M is one of the more talented teams in the country. And I thought Notre Dame outplayed them, and Notre Dame hung with Miami, which Miami looks like a top 3 team in the country. So I think, even though they do have 2 losses, I still think it's a really good football team. I think, CJ Carr has looked decent. They have 2 really good running backs with Jeremiah Love, obviously, is free. And then Darian Price is really good, and their wide receiver Faison's looked really good. I mean, they've got a really good offense, and they're always going to have a good defense. And I like Marcus Freeman. So, although Arkansas's looked pretty good to me, even though I know they dropped last week against Memphis, they still looked, I mean, the typical Sam Pittman Arkansas, but they're going to be talented and they're going to put up a fight. So, I think this is very, like you said, this is probably on the slate, probably one of the biggest upset watches. I wouldn't be surprised if it swung the other way.
100%. All right. Now moving on to a game we have split 50-50 here on the pod. The Southern California Trojans heading into Champlain, Illinois, facing off the Illini of Illinois. We're split 50-50, boys. I'll start us off here, and I'll tell you why. Luke Altmaier, I believe. I think the wholehearted reason they lost last week is because Indiana has an elite defensive line. Constantly got pressure. Does it make me think Illinois' front on the offense is a little suspect? Absolutely. But I don't think we have the same front at USC. And we know these Big Ten games where the California teams have to travel a little bit, and when teams have to travel to California, it hurts them. I like Illinois in this spot, especially since it's 11 a.m., dude. That's 9 a.m. local time. Them USC boys ain't going to be awake. Give me the Fighting Illini by 7. And just seeing if he's here. Big Mike, you're riding with me?
Yeah, I like the Illini. I think we have a big bounce back game. And I think a key thing that happened in the Indiana game was Illinois' top defensive player, their green sticker helmet guy, got kicked out of targeting early in the first half. So he'll be back the whole game against USC. And I think they get a bounce back win at home.
I'm with you, Big Mike. Luke, I'm gonna let you kick it off for USC or for Team USC. Why are the Trojans getting it done in Champlain?
I think this offense, now, I granted they had not played like really anybody, but just judging off of Illinois' defense from last week, I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. And I think Jaden, I'm going to butcher this, Maeva is going to throw all over Illinois. I think this is Lincoln Riley's first kind of statement win we've had in a while at USC, and he's going to submit a solid season and maybe even a playoff push in the Big Ten. I think that the USC Trojans will get it done this week in Champaign.
Chase, why do you go on with USC?
I'm just gonna put this right here. You don't lose 63-10 for no reason. I thought Illinois going into the season was one of the most overhyped teams. I mean, I like Altmaier, but outside of him,
Wow.
I mean,
The pod definitely thought differently.
I honestly I don't understand why Illinois got so much hype, and honestly, I think getting a lot of the cancers out of USC has kind of helped Lincoln Riley kind of build a program of kind of his guys, and I do think, like Luke said, Jaden Maeva he's playing some good football right now, and I know it was Michigan State and a bunch of G5 teams, but man, I think they get it done this week, and I think it's like I said, a pretty statement win for the Trojans, and
Question for you.
I don't think Illinois is that good. But
I've got a question for you. A win here for USC on the road at Illinois. Do we start putting them into the playoff conversation?
Not yet because of what Indiana just did to Illinois, but I do think once they start reaching that 6-0, 7-0 territory, they start creeping into that 15-14 range. I mean, it kind of depends on what happens in front of them, but there's a lot of teams that could lose in front of them this week. Obviously, Alabama could drop if they lose to Georgia, who's ahead of them. Tennessee could slip up with Mississippi State. There's a bunch of games going on this week where it kind of is some good teams could lose. So it really probably depends on what happens in front of them, but I do think USC has a pretty solid team this year.
Go ahead.
I also want to add, I think it starts when when Michigan comes, because if they beat.
Oh
now,
my God.
I'm a Michigan
Mhm.
homer.
Yeah, so
but
go
that's
ahead
gonna
and tell
be their-
Chase.
I'm a Michigan homer. but it starts at Michigan, then they have to play Notre Dame, and then Nebraska. That is a huge 3-game
That's a
stretch.
tough stretch.
So that is why I'm saying it starts when Michigan comes. If they beat Michigan, then they go 3-0 in that stretch. Or if even they go 1-2, I think, and maybe drop the game to Notre Dame, they are in that playoff conversation because they still have to play Oregon at the end of the year.
100%.
So they have some games on their schedule where if they win this week, you're kind of on the bubble looking in. So
Football is better when USC is good.
amen.
I stand by that.
100%.
I am so excited for this next game. The Bayou Bengals of LSU are heading in to hell on earth, also known as Oxford, Mississippi. The school up north, Ole Miss, is facing off against LSU. We are split the exact same way here. I cannot wait to hear Michael's take on this after me. Give me the Tigers, dude. Y'all are terrible for picking Ole Miss. There's no chance in hell Ole Miss is winning this game with a D2 transfer quarterback. Arkansas lost to Memphis. Ole Miss should have lost. And they played who? Kentucky? Bottom of the SEC? Georgia State? Tulane? Two G5 teams. Dude, I don't even think this game is like the score will be close because I don't think LSU scores prolifically. Although Ole Miss's defense is terrible, LSU's defense is elite. Whit Weeks is clapping the cheeks of Lane Kiffin's daughter, and he's going to clap the cheeks of his offense on Saturday. LSU is one of the top teams in the country, and the fact that you would go against them, against a pretender like Ole Miss, boggles my mind. And because, especially you, we have talked about our top 25, and you and me and Michael have all been on the same page. Ole Miss is so unproven. Ole Miss is so unproven. We have LSU ranked. How are you going against LSU? I don't understand this. I'm disappointed. I'm fully disappointed. I can't wait to hear your rebuttal. But Nussmeier, experience. Brian Kelly is on a mission this year, despite the kid he killed that keeps getting brought up in Twitter. Give me LSU. Chinese Bandits, the song they play after they get a third down stop, is going to play so often in Vaught Hemingway that's going to make Ole Miss fans throw up. Michael, obviously you agree.
Technical difficulties. All right.
Oh,
Hello.
yeah, we got you.
I think LSU's defense is too good for this Ole Miss offense. The LSU defense is probably looking like the number one defense in the country right now, and I think they show things that Trinidad hasn't seen yet. They mix up all these different coverages and blitzes, and I think LSU controls the line of scrimmage.
Well, there you go. Luke, I just kind of grilled you a little bit. I'm sorry. We are friends on this podcast. We never get into it.
Trust me. I've got a few things to say.
Well, yeah, you got to tell me why, dude. I'm so confused. When I looked at this, I am so surprised you went the way you went. I got to know why.
I love Trinidad. That's not the reason I picked them, but I love Trinidad. Another thing I'm looking at is, okay, LSU, yes, they played Clemson. Who's ass? They played Florida. Who's awful. So, I mean, I get at the preseason, oh, that's a very proven schedule. But, like, at the same time, I mean, the Clemson win, I guess, is still, impressive because you're going to Clemson. But, like,
That was a fully healthy Clemson team.
yes, but obviously there's something wrong down in Clemson. But my thing is, I think 65% of the time the home team wins. And I think Ole Miss is going to win here strictly because they're at home. And I think Brian Kelly, big game Brian, comes back. I am not a believer. You know, all those years while we hated Notre Dame, it is because of Brian Kelly and his inability to win the big game. As soon as Brian Kelly left, everybody loves Notre Dame. Brian Kelly is a cancer. I hate Brian Kelly. He will not win this big game. Big game Brian is nowhere to be found. I think this is a high-scoring affair. I think Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin's offense will score on LSU.
I think that's the key difference maker between us right now. I don't think they will. But Chase, why are you going with the Rebs?
2 words, Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, don't you love like an underdog story? I mean, this I mean, coming from you, Will, I mean, we're FCS boys. I mean, guys that are under recruited 0 stars and get to make it, and he's getting his shot right now for a good football team. So I mean, I think it's one of those things. I don't think Austin Simmons gets the job back,
You
and I
had to
think
pull at the heartstrings, didn't
Trinidad's
you?
honestly going to play. I mean, I'm just saying it makes this is why we love sports for stories like this. So I'm a believer in him, and I'm pretty confident in Ole Miss. Plus, it's a home game.
Just to wrap up this Ole Miss game, I'm a huge Trinidad Chambliss fan. I've said this on
Yeah.
here. The fact that he goes to Ole Miss repulses me, but I'm a big fan of him. He's a D2 national champion. He's a winner. He should win in this game. Another, I mean, the slate is stacked this weekend.
This
It-
is the greatest weekend of sports, I think, of the year. So it is awesome.
Dude, you're telling me this is one of the most underrated games of the weekend. I want to put this out there right now. The Auburn Tigers, led by Jackson Arnold, are heading in to the Colt, College Station, Texas. And the Texas Aggies are going to be hosting Auburn. Dude, I was told last week on Auburn, they got hoed big time against Oklahoma. They should have won that football game against an Oklahoma team with John Mateer. They made John Mateer look not like a Heisman quarterback. Straight up. That defense is legit. Their running game is prolific, something Notre Dame was never able to get established this season, period. Give me Auburn, dude. And they're going to run all over A&M. Also, you talk about big game Brian. Let's talk about A&M.
I know.
8 and
It's on.
4. They will be 8 and 4, and this is loss number 1. Auburn is a sleeper playoff contender team. If you know me, it hurts my soul to say that. Hurts my soul. War damn Eagle. Give me Auburn. Chase, I love it. You're with me. You agree.
Like you said, I mean, A&M's going to be 8-4. That's what it's going to be. There's always so much hype in College Station. Every year, A&M's back. A&M's going to be so good. A&M's going to be a top 10 team. And what happens every single year? 8-4, 7-5, 8-4. I mean, I hate to say it being a Cowboys fan, but they almost parallel us.
Yeah, they
so
do.
much hype at the beginning of the season and just disappointing expectations every year in, year out. And also, I think Marcel Reed, he did make some plays against Notre Dame, but that completion percentage is low. I mean, almost Arch Manning low. So I don't think he's that good. That defense has not looked super impressive. And you know what? Auburn looks great against a good OU team last weekend in Norman. So War damn Eagle, baby. I
So-
mean, they look good. That defense, and I mean, Cam Coleman's a dog, and
He
you know,
is
if
a dog.
Jackson Arnold
Oh, yeah,
can
he is.
make a couple throws, they're gonna be just fine.
Chase, I just want to let you know every person on this pod other than you has played against Marcel Reed.
Marcel Reed is this is Glaze, is the greatest football player I've ever seen that I've played against. I mean, the dude, would literally, as a freshman, run circles, launch the thing 50 yards down the field, and it would be a completion. I think this is a big step-up game. The Heisman race is wide open. And if Marcel Reed wants to be in this Heisman race, he stamps himself on this game. He wins this game for Auburn. And I think
A&M.
A&M. But I think playing in Norman versus playing at Kyle Field is a completely different animal. And I think that's going to end up getting to Jackson Arnold and Auburn.
Michael, you're right with the Aggies, dude.
Yeah, Luke took his last point was pretty much my main point. I think Jackson Arnold isn't ready for an atmosphere like at A&M at night. Yes, Auburn's a great team. Auburn's a very solid team, but I think it's more of the atmosphere that gets to Auburn, and I think that A&M is, and I don't think Auburn's offense is good enough to overcome this atmosphere of at Kyle Field at night and against this really solid A&M team. I think it will be low key a little bit of a shootout at the beginning, but I think that Auburn slows down, and I think A&M takes over pretty easily in the second half.
All right. Just keeping us on track with time here. We all agree Oregon's going to thump Penn State. I don't even think it's close. Does anyone think this game's close?
Not even
The-
close.
The only thing
No.
that worries me, it's a whiteout at night, and that noise. Dante Moore's not played in that environment. It's kind of the same thing with Jackson Arnold going to A&M. You're having to go to Penn State and play at night, which they have the time thing on their side. But Penn State's an electric place at night, and that is the only thing that worries me. He has not been in that environment.
See, the only thing that worried me was the bye week. Penn State coming off a bye.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dan Lanning is so prepared for this game. I think he has his team prepared for this game. And I think Oregon wins by a sizable margin. It's not even going to be – it's going to be like 17 plus. It's going to be 3 possessions. I don't think Penn State team is good at all. I mean, we've criticized them pretty heavily over the pod all throughout the season. They don't cover. If you don't cover against FCS and G5 teams, you lose our respect.
Yeah.
So, Chase, any little tidbit to add about this game?
I think Oregon's a really good football team, and I have not been overly impressed with Penn State. So, I mean, like I said, I think Dante Moore looked really, really good. Oregon's going to have great players all over, a great line. I mean, they're just athletic everywhere, and I agree. I mean, a whiteout at Penn State is tough, and traveling across those time zones. But I think Dan Lanning is going to have the boys ready to go, and I don't think it'll be close. And big game James Franklin, when
Yeah,
he's
talk
not
about
heavily
big game
favored,
James
he
Franklin,
doesn't
dude.
win. Another thing,
The Alabama Crimson Tide and Caitlin DeBoer head into Athens, Georgia to play the Georgia Bulldogs. We all agree. Georgia wins this game.
Yep.
There's no way in hell Kirby Smart's losing 2 years in a row to Bama, especially a Sabanless Bama. Come on, dude. Give me the dogs at home. They cover. Y'all agree?
Completely agree. I think
100%.
Ty Simpson definitely plays better than he did at Florida
100%.
State, but it's still not enough to go into Georgia. Is this a night game? I think it is a
Yes.
night game.
Yes.
It's still not enough to prevail at Georgia, which Athens is one of the loudest places to play in the country. So,
It's just
Chase.
got to piggyback off that. I mean, Ty Simpson's looked better since Florida State, obviously. We got Ryan Williams going a little bit over the last couple weeks, but still, I mean, I'm not a DeBoer believer. I think when you follow a coach like Nick Saban, the coach that always follows isn't going to last very long because it's just hard to sustain that success. And I think, unfortunately, it's going to continue this week. I think Georgia wins pretty comfortably too. I mean,
I agree.
there's a better football team than Alabama.
I agree.
So
I wanted to say this game for life. The Tennessee Volunteers head in to Stark, Vegas, Mississippi, and face off against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 3 of us are on one side, one's on the other. Rocky Top, you'll always be last in the SEC. We don't really curse much on this podcast, so I'm just going to say screw Tennessee. The Cowbells are going to get to Joe Aguilar on a nice 3:15 p.m. afternoon in Stark, Vegas. Dude, I think way too many people are sleeping on this Mississippi State team. Defense is suspect, 100%.
Agree.
But damn, can this offense score?
it's going to be your classic Big 12 shootout right here.
Oh, 100%. Hammer the over. Blake Shapen.
Hammer the over.
Blake Shapen. This will be brought up later. Give me the dogs at home to beat the Tennessee Vols and establish themselves as a top 25 team and a sleeper playoff contender. It's a new era. It's a Jeff Lebby era in Starkville. And Tennessee ain't made for this moment. Luke, why does State win this game?
I just think the home factor, I mean, it's been years since State has actually had some good feelings around that program. I think that kind of carries on to the field. I think it's a shootout. I think State doesn't win on like the walk off like they did against Arizona State, but it's like a go ahead score with under a minute to go. They end up clutching up, winning at home. Maybe another field stormer. I don't know. We'll have to see.
And I want to get his take on this the game and the field storming aspect. Big Mike, you're going with your future alma mater.
Yeah. I'm surprised y'all picked Mississippi State, to be honest. The game is going to be decided in the first quarter. If Tennessee comes out fast and Mississippi State does not respond and it's 14-0, the game's over. But if it keeps within one possession or 10 points or something, and I think Mississippi State has a chance to pull off the upset. But we have to have third down stops. That's the biggest part, is third down stops for Mississippi State. And if Tennessee is able to convert on third downs, then it's not going to look good. And we also need Joey Aguilar likes to throw it a lot. He likes to throw it into double coverages sometimes, and we have to take advantage of that.
Yeah, we saw that when we played against him in the Sun Belt Championship game. Michael, I have one more question for you. Storm the field if you win.
No, not against Tennessee. The start of the field against Arizona State was probably just, for morale, because it was the first big one in probably like 8 years since 2014. But no, I don't think we started the field here. I will say, though, that if Mississippi State wins, there will be a warning, if not a ban on cowbells for the remainder of the year.
You think?
Yes, I actually am pretty positive on it.
Pineapple will be a little part of my language, but bitch, and probably go after it.
So they've tried to go after it before, and the NCAA has done some. There's no silence to the cowbells. Mississippi State's not the only team that does cowbells. New Mexico State does, and so does, I'm pretty sure, Texas Tech or a team like that has cowbells as well. Chase,
They got
I
tortillas
know they have
though.
the damn tortillas. One random team, I heard a lot of cowbells at the game.
The Hendricks Warriors have cowbells.
There you go,
It is annoying as shit, but they have them.
Chase, buddy. You didn't get the memo.
Let me explain my logic here. I mean, I think Josh Heupel's done a fantastic job at Tennessee. He's brought him back to, playoff relevance. And I think, they've come out positively from the Nico fiasco. So I really like Joey Aguilar. It's another guy that's kind of a journeyman. We've seen, you've seen the positives and negatives of Joey Aguilar. We've seen it at App State. We've seen it now at Tennessee. But I do still think it's a good football team. And like I said, Mississippi State's starting to turn it around, but I don't think they're quite at the point where they're ready to challenge some of the top dogs in the SEC. But I do think that program's obviously trending upward, but I don't think this is the week where they really get that statement win. But
Percent. All right, now kind of going around the rest of the slate. Quick picks, not too much input here. Friday night, TCU heading to Arizona State. I've got TCU.
I've also got TCU. I think
TCU
Cooper has a big game, throws it all over Arizona State.
TCU's good this year, man.
Mm-hmm.
They could sneak in. They could be the Big 12 team in the playoff. I really think them or Tech.
100%. Cincinnati, and I think in a very interesting Big 12 spot here, is heading to Kansas. I like Kansas here. What about you?
I'll take Kansas at home any day of the week. Cincinnati, I'm not very high on just because they can't throw the football.
I agree. Kansas all the way over here, too.
Ohio State, the number one team in the country, heading out west to Washington.
I'll start.
I think this one will be a little tricky for them, but I think that Ohio State team is very talented. That secondary is ridiculous. Julian Sayans played really well, and I think Ryan Day's a pretty good football coach. So, they'll be fine. I think it'll be one of those things where it's close through the first half, but they'll start to pull away by the third quarter.
I think Washington is winning at the half. I think Ohio State wins the game.
Same. I think Washington keeps it close, and Ohio State pulls away in the fourth quarter just off of the experience factor in the big game. But this Washington team, highly underrated.
100%. Indiana heads to Iowa. Give me the Hoosiers. Big.
Yeah, no, Hoosiers by a million.
After what they just did to Illinois, I mean, it's hard to go against them. I don't think it'll be as much. I think I will at least slow them down a little bit defensively, but an Iowa offense is never going to be able to score with Indiana. So
6 o'clock,
the Hoosiers.
Arizona heading to Iowa State. Give me the Wildcats. I'm not sold on Iowa State. I think it's where they falter.
I think Arizona is a terrible team. I don't think they win. I think Iowa State narrowly escapes by like they usually do, but Arizona's just not good enough to beat them.
I agree. I think Iowa State is extremely overrated, probably up there with Illinois as some of the most overrated teams in college football right now. But Arizona's terrible. So I think they get by this week, but they'll probably slip up in the next couple weeks. Like, I don't see Iowa State going too many more weeks without losing.
And then just a fun little pick here. Washington State at Colorado State. I like the Rams. I think Washington State's one of the worst teams in the country.
I agree. Pac-12 is awful this year.
Awful. Give me the Rams, baby.
All right. Our breakout players in college football for week 5. I kind of gave a subtle foreshadowing. I love Blake Shapen in this spot. Tennessee's defense gave up 44 points to Gunnar Stockton. Think about that. Just think about it. Blake Shapen is going to tear these corners apart. The question is, can State get a stop? But it won't matter as far as a personal performance here. I think Blake Shapen throws for at least 4 touchdowns and at least 300 yards.
Wow. No, I think with my pick, Trinidad, he's just got to take care of the football and play like he has been. If he's slinging the ball, he's running the ball well, he's just got to take care of the football against this LSU defense. You cannot give them a reason to capitalize on short field or anything. And I think if he plays turnoverless and plays the game well like he has been, Ole Miss will be right here just willing to win it.
I got Dante Moore. I mean, I think this is finally his, this is his coming out party right here where he enters the Heisman conversation. I mean, there's no reason why he shouldn't be except, the level of competition that they played so far. But I mean, he's looked really good. I mean, his last pick he threw was in pretty much garbage time, and he's looked very talented, and honestly, I hate to say it, but almost an upgrade on Dylan Gabriel, which is crazy to say, but I think this is his opportunity. If he really lights it up against Penn State, he's going to start getting in that national conversation for the Heisman, especially with Mateer, being out for 5 or 6 weeks.
100%.
So he could really, if he has a good performance this week, he can get in that conversation with, Carson Beck, and obviously Mateer. But we'll see what happens.
Our best bets for week 5 of college football. I'll just start. Love Oregon money line. We've talked about it. I like Oregon to if the line was reversed, I would like them to cover. They're underdogs, dude. Plus 140. Give them on the money line. South Carolina, whale play against Kentucky at home at night. 6.5 points. Not enough for the Gamecocks. Love South Carolina. Southern Miss at home against Jacksonville State. Minus 4.5. Really love what Charles Huff has going down in Hattiesburg. Weird loss to La Tech last week. Outgained them by nearly 170 yards on offense. Only had one more turnover. 30-20 didn't really make much sense as I was just box score watching. Jacksonville State lost Rich Rod. Not big on the Gamecocks this year. Those Gamecocks this year. Give me Southern Miss at home minus 4.5, and I think it's actually moved to 3.5. BYU on the road at Colorado. Whale play again. This Colorado team sucks. Deion is on his way out because he can't win without his signs. BYU minus 6.5. Love BYU this year. They've been a wagon. Going to keep riding them. And then Georgia minus 3.5. If you're going to win the game, I think you're going to win by more than 4 points. Love the Dogs at home against the Crimson Tide. Luke.
Vandy plays Utah State. Vandy's beat everybody by this line, and there's no reason if Texas A&M could beat Utah State by this. Vandy has been hammering people. I got Vandy by 22.5. Indiana, we touched on it earlier. They are going to rail Iowa. Iowa can't score. Vandy can. Like you said, I got the Oregon money line. The only reason they are underdogs is because it's on the road. That if this was like, say this is neutral site, I think they're favored. But Oregon money line, then Houston against, I think, the worst team in Power Five or in the country in Oregon State. Oregon State's looked abysmal. I now they do have to go to Corvallis, but Houston should be able to get this 2 touchdowns.
CFBWKARS. Big 12 champions, by the way.
Then UCF goes on the road. I think Scott Foster
Love this spot.
continues this. They go against another awful team in Kansas State. I think they at least cover. I'm not shocked if they win, but Scott Frost has been on a roll since he's been back at UCF.
Chase.
Well, I've got free money. I think Florida State is going to hammer Virginia. I think Virginia's been pretty much overrated by a lot of analysts and everybody this year. I think Florida State absolutely kills Virginia. And then, TCU, Arizona State, not great defenses on both sides. Really two prolific quarterbacks. That's going over 56.5 points. And then, Georgia Southern, I think that is I expect them to cover against James Madison. 17.5 points is too much. It's a Sun Belt game. Sun Belt games are always going to be competitive. That's just too many points. Even though Georgia Southern hasn't looked great, I still think that 17.5 points, it's just, and it's in a Sun Belt game, that's not going to happen. And then Baylor, I'm taking them big over Oklahoma State. After Oklahoma State just lost a coach that's been there for 21 years, I'm not expecting a big bounce back week for them. I think their struggles continue, and I think Baylor honestly has looked pretty good this year. Sawyer Robinson has been.
Yeah, we're big on Sawyer Robertson.
Yeah, we are.
He's been a dog this season so far, so I'm pretty high on Baylor. And then I got the BYU spread against Colorado. I mean, honestly, Deion, I'm a supporter of Deion. Will, as you know, I love Deion.
He's a huge Deion Glazer.
He's a fraud. He's a little fraudulent as a head coach. I'd say it, and that they can't figure out that quarterback situation. I think that their defense has drastically improved since Shador was there last year, but they can't figure out that quarterback room. And as you guys know, can't win without a quarterback. And honestly, BYU's look pretty solid, even though they lost Retzlaff. So,
100%.
the Cougs.
It is week 4 in the NFL. And we have some great games. Good enough to where I didn't know where I was going to go in a lot of these.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football, usually a terrible time slot, turns great. The Seattle Seahawks are heading to Arizona to face the Cardinals. We're split 50-50. Me and the producer on the Seahawks, Chase and Luke on the Cardinals. No James Conner. That's basically my default here. That's why I went with Seattle. If they had James Conner, I would have went with the Cardinals. Sam Darnold has looked a lot better than I thought he was going to. This Seattle defense has looked incredible. Give me the Seahawks on the road in a tough NFC West game. Luke, why'd you take the Cardinals?
Home team. I think, honestly, last week they should have beaten the 49ers with that safety late, and then they just went 3 and out. I mean, I get no Connor, but they still have to be able to convert a first down. Because they get a first down, they win the game. But I think the being at home, I think this is it's a mid-off on this game. It is a complete mid-off, and I'm just going with the home team.
Chase.
Honestly, man, I think the Cardinals are a good football team, and I think they're starting to figure it out a little bit. I don't think Trey Benson, James Conner obviously is a prolific back, but I don't think Trey Benson is going to be that much different. He was great at Florida State, and honestly, I think Cardinals defenses looked really good. If Kyler Murray just plays turnover-free football, I think they'll be able to beat the Seahawks despite that really good defense and despite, Sam Darnold sort of figuring it out. And the Cardinals are previewing some pretty sweet uniforms this week. So if they look clean, I think they probably gonna win.
All right. London. The Minnesota Vikings are heading to London to face the Pittsburgh Steelers. Y'all know I'll rep the Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings, dude. The Steelers suck, and you can't convince me otherwise. Aaron Rodgers is too old to be playing football. The Steelers' offense lacks anything looking like NFL production other than week 1 against the Jets. Carson Wentz, yeah, I told y'all. I told y'all. Kevin O'Donnell resurrects washed quarterbacks. The Ginger Ninja playing for his childhood favorite team. By the way, Sam Darnold was also gingered when he was playing with the Vikings. It's just a trend here, guys. Vikings are going to make the playoffs, and they're going to beat the hell out of the Steelers. Also, this Vikings defense is unbelievable. They're going to give Aaron
Unbelievable.
Rodgers fits. Luke, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I do think this week will about come down to earth for Carson Wentz. I think he has a very Carson Wentz-esque game, but I think that defense keeps him in it. I cannot gauge this Steelers team because one week I pick them, they look great. The next week I pick them again, they suck. Then they look a lot better the next week. I can't gauge them. So I'm going with the proven defense with the Vikings.
Chase, you went with the Steelers did.
I'll explain my thinking here. So the NFL always, every couple of weeks you have a very surprising result. I think this is one of those games. I mean, I think everybody's pretty high on the Vikings after how they played last week. And it's just a weird game in London. I think anything can happen. I think it'll probably be low scoring. And I would imagine, Aaron Rodgers winds back the clock a little bit, even though he hasn't looked great minus the Jets game. I think they get it done.
The Commanders are heading to the Atlanta Falcons. We all three have the sensible pick here because Jay Dan's gonna be healthy, taking the commies. I would like him to chime in here. Michael, why the hell did you pick the Falcons?
Not really big on the Commanders this year, not gonna lie. And I think that when it comes to pro teams like the NFL, I mean the Falcons didn't score a point last week. That's just like not gonna happen 2 weeks in a row. So I got them taking the dub here.
Fair enough. Yeah, surely you're not gonna get blown out by the Panthers 30-0 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Go with the Falcons. Yeah, dude, I think the commies are too much for Atlanta here, and obviously y'all agree. We all agree, and there's no reason to even talk about these next 2 games. The Bills are gonna thrash the Saints. It's not even be close. And the Lions.
This
Now,
worries me.
this
really
also worries me. Are the Browns hot?
I mean, that defense.
No, it's Cleveland.
No, that defense is awesome. You
Dan
have-
Campbell's got those boys rolling too.
He does. But that defense with Myles Garrett, you have Mason Graham, who actually had a 45% win rate on pass rushes last week. So he is getting to the quarterback. I think that front, along with that Cleveland defense is freaking elite. They are literally a good quarterback away from probably being a good team. So I just think that it worries me. Lions win 13 points or whatever it is, too much.
Yeah, they don't cover. I agree.
They don't cover, but the Lions win.
The Carolina Panthers head to the New England Patriots. Me and Luke are running with the Panthers here, dude, and that's because we've been hoed too many times now by New England. I'm not letting them do it to me again. They turned the ball over way too much. The Panthers looked elite last week at home against the Falcons. Give me Bryce Young and the Panthers. Luke, I think you agree with me here in the same line of thinking.
Yeah, no, when your running backs fumble the ball 3 freaking times, you're not going to win a game. It's just they had 5 turnovers last week. Now, it'll probably be chopped out a little bit this week. I still expect them to turn the ball over, and that is the only reason I'm going with the Panthers.
Chase, Patriots?
I'm a Drake May believer. I think Stephon Diggs is gonna have to eventually become a big part of their offense for them to have sustained success, and I think they're gonna have to start getting him going. And I don't think they turn the ball over 5 times again. And I just don't think I've never been that impressed with Bryce Young on the Panthers, even though Tet's looked pretty good, and obviously Chuba Hubbard resurgence has been nice to see, but man, I think the Patriots just have a little bit better roster and they get it done with a superior quarterback.
The Chargers are heading to New Jersey to face the New York Giants. I know Dart's playing, guys. He's going to get banged up this week. Chargers defense looks good. Herbert looks like Herb Daddy again. Give me LA. Y'all agree?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he plays though, because I mean, obviously Dable has a lot of confidence in him for them to bring him out in week 4.
Dude, play Jameis Winston. Please make the team fun.
Amen.
Um, I want to get the grain here. Apparently, the Philadelphia Eagles are heading to Tampa to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Y'all all three went the Buccaneers. I want to hear first Luke, then Chase, why y'all went with the Bucks.
Now the Bucks have been demons in the late game this like whole year. They've won all 3 of their games, last drive or whatever. I think Philly got so lucky last week that they won. There's no way you blocked 2 field goals. Like that is just, the odds of that happening are astronomical. And I think even though Mike Evans is out, Baker Mayfield's a freaking dog. And Emeka Ibuka is a dog. I think that's just even you got Bucky Irving in the backfield. I think this is going to be a pretty high scoring affair. I'm not sold yet on this Eagles offense either. I know they had that great like second half. Still, coordinating's an issue, but that's why I'm taking the Bucks.
Chase.
I've been very impressed with Baker Mayfield. I think you looked at a guy probably 2, 3 years ago, probably turned the ball over a little too much, which led to, the path he took on. He's really matured as a quarterback. Doesn't turn the ball over, makes the right decisions. Emeka is a dog. They got 2 great running backs down there, a solid line, solid D line, good linebacker secondary. I mean, that's a good football team down there. And not to say that the defending champs obviously aren't, but their passing game has been atrocious. And I think this is finally the week they get their first loss. I mean, it should have happened last week against the Rams, but they've got to start figuring some stuff out on offense because it's been pretty bad for the Eagles.
So, I wholeheartedly agree with every point y'all just said. I originally had the Buccaneers. Then I realized, oh my God, this team almost lost to Tyrod Taylor. Give me the Eagles, dude. I mean, they just don't have. They're not there yet. Let them get healthy. And Mike Evans is really the deter here. If he was playing, I'd take the Bucks. However, the defending champs, they are the defending champs. Offensive line's banged up. So, Vita Vea could eat this week against Philadelphia. However, I think Jalen Hurts kind of found his groove in the second half against the Rams. That's a good Rams team. I think we can all agree that's a really good Rams team that they came back and beat. I like Philly on the road. I know they historically don't do well in Florida, but I really like Philly here in this spot, especially after I saw all y'all went with them. Go against the grain here. Luke. Me, Chase, and Michael obviously like the Texans because the Titans are so bad. Is that you agree?
100%.
Look,
I haven't been impressed with the Texans either. I think
I don't think any of us have.
Their offensive line has been atrocious. And I think CJ Stroud, honestly, now you're starting to look at if that first season was a little bit fraudulent because he has not shown us anything in the last 2 seasons. Pretty much since that Bears game last year, he's really fallen off. So, I mean, I don't think the Titans are any good. I don't like Callahan as their head coach either, but man, it's going to be a battle of 2 bottom feeders, I really think. And I think it'll be a close game and it'll be low scoring because the Texans offense can't get it together.
Luke, explain yourself.
Dude, I think this is just the AFC South, ever since we've been alive, has been the weirdest division in football. And I honestly think every year, the worst team just get like the Titans the last few years, just always go steal one from like the Jags, the Texans, the Colts. They steal one on the road. And I think this is where Cam Ward doesn't have a coming out party, but this is definitely his best game by far. And I just think it's a weird AFC South matchup, and y'all all picked the Texans, so I had to go against the grain here, just like you. So
The Indianapolis Colts head to LA and face the Rams. I just kind of glazed the Rams about how good I thought they were. But this is our Colts. This is our team, and we bleed blue. We are led by Indiana Jones. Give me the Colts, dude. This is destiny. This is destiny. I've got a Indiana Jones jersey on the way for the pod. Dude, I am a buyer in the Colts. I cannot wait to watch him in the Super Bowl this year. Jonathan Taylor is unreal. The wide receiver weapons like Michael Pittman, unreal. Defense is unreal. Daniel Jones looks like the quarterback the Giants wanted him to be, this Colts
MVP
team,
candidates?
you've got to take away the logo. The only reason people are hesitant is because of the logo. If this team has the Eagles logo on it, everyone on this podcast takes the Eagles. 100%. Michael, you went with me here.
Hello. Yeah. I mean, I just think I'm ju- I'm just a big fan of I am a big fan of the Colts, and I went against them last week, and it backfired on me. So I couldn't do it 2 weeks in a row.
Fair enough. Luke, start me off now. Why are the Rams ending this dream of a season so far for the Colts?
I want to start out. I flip flop. I honestly think this Rams offense is just as good as this Colts offense is, and I think the defense is not as good, but it's just right behind it. And I think the Colts having to go out to LA and play on the road is going to play a factor. I think Puka Nacua has an absolute breakout game this week and wins them this football game.
Chase.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think Devontae Adams has looked a lot better than expected for the Rams.
Yep.
And then obviously Puka is ridiculous. Matthew Stafford. I think that Rams defense is solid too. I really like the Colts. I agree with you, Will, that this is a potential Super Bowl contender, but you can't stay perfect in the NFL for very long. It's hard to win back-to-back-to-back games, especially start off the season 4-0, which the Colts have not done in a long time. So I like the Rams, and I think, Sean McVay is a phenomenal head coach, probably one of the best coaches in the league. So I can't see him losing back-to-back games, especially in the fashion they lost last week. So
Good point.
give me the Rams.
That's a good point. The Jacksonville Jaguars head into San Francisco to play the 49ers. Me, the producer, and Luke went with the 49ers. Chase went with the Jags. Luke, I think we're just in agreement here that we just don't think the Jags are good at all.
I'm actually not. I flip-flop on this. I think the Niners have a lot of key pieces out. They have Bosa, you have Kittle, you have Purdy. Mac Jones is banged up. I think this is tight. I do not think the Jags are very good, but I do think just because of the injuries, it is going to be a tight game.
That's what I said. We're picking the Niners because we think the Jags suck that bad.
Well, I'm not picking the Niners because of yes, actually. Big part. Sorry.
Chase, why the hell are you picking Jacksonville?
I'm going to be honest. I still believe in Trevor Lawrence.
Wow.
I think if he figures it out with Brian Thomas, it's coming at some point. Brian Thomas is going to start going
I sure
off
hope
here
so. He's on
again.
my fantasy team.
Even more reason for you to pick the Jags this week then, man. But I still am a Trevor Lawrence believer. Still super talented. It's hard to succeed in Jacksonville as a quarterback, but if not now, when? He's got a 5-year contract, so it's time to start winning some big games, and I think, this is the perfect time to do it. That Jaguars defense isn't as bad as people make it out to be, and they played pretty well to start the season. I think they probably will finish second in the AFC South and be a fringe playoff team, maybe slip into that wild card spot. So I think they get it done. Like Luke said, the 49ers are banged up. They have the worst injury luck in the NFL year in, year out. So I think probably Jaguars get it done this week.
Fair enough. The Baltimore Ravens are heading to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. We all love the Ravens here. This Chiefs team is not good.
Not good.
If Xavier Worthy plays, do I think there's an uptick in their offense? Yes. Is it going to be enough?
Not
No.
enough.
I am sounding the alarm, and y'all can, Luke and then Chase, chime in after this. I'm on the verge of saying the Chiefs don't make the playoffs, and I'm being pretty blunt about it. They honestly, if the Giants were like 5% better than the shit team they are, they lose that game. This Chiefs team sucks, and then which is so weird to say in the Big 25. Luke, this is, and I think you're in agreement here. I think we all think the Ravens are great. but we're just kind of more shocked about how bad the Chiefs are.
Yeah, no, my preseason MVP was Mahomes, just because I thought they were going to win football games, and I was obviously extremely wrong about that. I mean, without the weapons, Mahomes is also missing a bunch of throws that we usually don't see him miss. I like a few weeks ago, he had Hollywood Brown wide open seam route for a touchdown, overthrew him. I just don't understand if this is like a sophomore slump that's like what 7 years too late. I mean, it's just a weird. He looks awful. The defense is not very good. I mean, I do not think they're a very good football team.
Chase.
I'm gonna piggyback off that point. I think Patrick Mahomes is still going to go down as one of the greats. And if you kind of look at every great quarterback's career, they start to have a dip towards the middle of their career. I mean, if you look at Peyton Manning, you look at Brady, Drew Brees is a little bit different scenario, but even Aaron Rodgers, it's hard to be at the top for a long time. And this roster's aging. I mean, they're paying a lot of money to guys that probably don't deserve it outside of Mahomes. And they just haven't given him enough weapons. I mean, Travis Kelsey is not a tight end one in the NFL anymore. And, wide receivers, I mean, they outside of Xavier Worthy, I mean, Justin, they've got a pretty small wide receiver room, and you don't have anybody that's just elite and can go make plays for you. And then there's no real running game. Like Pacheco has not been consistent at all. And, like we said, Mahomes is missing a lot of throws and honestly sometimes tries to do too much. And so I just think he's going to have a little regression here for a couple of years. They're not going to be at the heights that they've been. They got away with it for the last couple seasons where they could be just okay and then turn it on when it gets to the postseason. But I don't think that's the case, going here forward. I think they are really not a good football team. And I think the Ravens trounced them this week.
Yeah, I agree. The Ravens are good. We have a battle of bad teams to close out the afternoon slate. The Chicago Bears. The Bears are heading to Las Vegas and playing the Raiders on Sunday afternoon. Me and Chase like the Bears. And this is partially because I think playing that awful Cowboy secondary gave Caleb Williams a little bit of confidence, a little pep in his step. I think this Raiders team is terrible. I think Geno Smith's terrible. I think this is the Raiders cannot, ever since they moved to Las Vegas, cannot figure out the whole quarterback thing. They definitely don't do it this week. Give me the Bears. Why do you like the Bears, Chase?
I think Ben is a phenomenal offensive mind. Regardless of whether they're playing Cowboys defense, I mean, you've seen they turned Russ and looking like prime Russ. So, I mean, we can't base what we saw last week on it, but I do think at times Caleb Williams has looked really good. First half against the Vikings, week 1. I mean, he didn't miss throws. So I do think that he's going to start showing some flashes of the player everybody assumed he would be. And they looked really good last week. Got Luther Burden the ball, which was encouraging to see. I mean, their defense played pretty well.
The most encouraging thing about this
pretty-
game is they look good on defense against us, and we have a
Mm-hmm.
really prolific offense.
Really prolific offense. So I don't think it's very close this game. I think Chicago is a pretty solid football team. I think they could be a fringe playoff team too. When you talk about the Raiders, that line is terrible. That offensive line is terrible. I mean, if you've seen some of the plays, them blocking for Genty and Geno, I mean, there's no time to throw. There's no holes to run through. That line is terrible. And then, like you said, Geno Smith, whatever it is about Las Vegas, they can't figure it out. And you would think with a guy like Tom Brady in there that they would potentially figure it out, but I think they may be gunning for a top pick next year's draft. I don't think the Raiders are good at all. So I'm pretty high on the Bears this week.
Luke, why the Raiders?
So, like Chase pointed out earlier with the Steelers, there's always a game that's just really freaking weird that somebody wins. And I think Geno sucks. That offensive line sucks. The Bears are going to do Bear things, and they're going to drop this game because Geno, for some reason, is going to have his 350-yard passing on the day, 3 touchdowns and 3 picks, and he's going to end up winning this game for him. I will say this offensive line, Genty gets hit 70% of his carries in the backfield first.
Yeah, the offensive line's bad.
It's awful.
The producer agrees with you. Sunday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers are heading to heaven. America's team in Dallas, Texas. Well, kinda. Arlington. The Dallas Cowboys host the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to keep mine short and simple to keep our time a little bit shorter here. The Packers are a better team, plain and simple. Defense sucks. Guys, you know I wanted to ride with you. I just wanted to be right. Why did the Cowboys win? Luke, then Chase. And then, after Chase, Michael, you got to chime in on this.
I am completely homing. I will probably pick Cowboys in 90% of these games this year. I do not care. I'm homing. They lost to the Browns last week. You cannot tell me if the Browns can't beat them. We can't. How about the Cowboys?
About them Cowboys, baby. You know, honestly, I'm a big believer in Dak right now.
I am
Dak's
too.
looked phenomenal for the boys. He's looked great. And I just think we've had a lot of things go wrong for us. I think Eberflus is going to figure it out at some point, and the defense will get better. And once we start to get some of these guys back as the season goes on, I do think the Cowboys are a playoff team. Now, also, I think there's a lot of bad blood between Micah and this Cowboys roster. I don't think, outside of maybe CD Lamb and some of the stars, I don't think they liked how Micah handled this whole situation. So I don't think they're just going to let him come in and, do Micah things and walk out with a W. I think Dallas has something to prove this week. And, Green Bay coming off a loss to the Browns, like, why can't the Cowboys win? I mean, I know that secondary is terrible, but I expect Dak. Like, this is a big revenge game for us after what they did to us in the playoffs 2 years ago. This is a game I'm expecting, Cowboys offense to put up a lot of points. It'll be high scoring, but how about them Cowboys, baby?
I'm already regretting my Green Bay pick. I was trying to pull a fast one here. Chase, you don't know this. We have a punishment for last place in both the NFL and college football picks this year. A note on that, every guest we have, and we will have multiple guests, will have their weekly record posted on the pod, and whoever wins, and I'm sure the boys will be fine with this, we're going to pitch in, give you a $25 gift card of, whatever you want. So whoever wins guest pickers this year, $25 gift card. It's about all the budget we got for it right now. Michael, you rode with the boys. You're a much logical picker, and I can't believe I showed logic here and went against this. I'm already regretting it. You're a much logical picker than me and Luke. Why the hell did you pick us?
Straight home. I don't think we win the game, to be honest. There's with CD Lamb not playing, we're not going to win. I'm going to be completely honest. But we were in the game against the Bears literally until he came out. We had one good drive without him. That's the only reason why we scored 14 points is we have no CD Lamb. I mean, yes, our offense is decent without him, but it's just not good without him. The only reason why we win, I think, is what Chase said with Micah Parsons. I think there's a little bit more to the game than people say, like it just being professional. And I think that the Cowboys win it with Brandon Aubrey's 70-yard field goal.
Let's go. What a call.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we can skip over this one, dude. First game on Monday night, and we're just going to briefly touch on both these. Yeah, the Dolphins suck. Jets going to win. And the Bengals.
Harvey now gets fired after this game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like a shell of himself out there in press conferences. The Bengals head to Denver, play the Broncos. Guys, the Bengals are banged, so banged up.
And this Denver defense.
And y'all know how I feel.
Big confidence booster.
Y'all know how I feel about a certain quarterback in Denver. He sucks. Just putting it out there. Sophomore slump.
Agree.
You agree?
100%.
Oh my God! Talk about it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, Bo Nix at Oregon. I mean, I was never a believer of him at Oregon. Wasn't a believer of him last year. All their wins, if you look at all their wins, came against sub 500 teams. Anytime he played a good team, struggled with them. This year has not looked great. I just am not a big Bo Nix believer, and that, the Broncos are a good football team and the Bengals are obviously struggling, but I think this game will be tight, and I don't think Bo Nix is very good.
I love it. Michael and Luke glazed Bo Nix at the beginning of the year during our preseason predictions. I have the Broncos going 7-10 and missing the playoffs. I'm not a Bo Nix believer. The defense keeps him in every game.
Every game.
All right.
And they can't beat good teams.
No, 100%. Moving on, we head to the best bets. I've got the Broncos, ironically. Minus 7.5. I think the Bengals are way too banged up. Broncos cover at home. I love the Chargers against the Giants here. Minus 6.5. I like the under in this Detroit-Cleveland game. Great defense for Cleveland. So I think they hold Detroit at bay. Don't think the Cleveland offense is that great. So 45.5. Give me the under. Love the Bills minus 15.5 against the Saints. The Saints got blown up by the Seahawks. Surely they get blown up by the Bills. And the Colts plus 3.5. If they're going to lose, they're going to lose by like a field goal, in my opinion. So I love 3.5 here for the Colts. Luke.
Now, I'm taking Jordan Love, 250 passing yards. I would take him at more, but you're getting that at like plus 105. So plus money for only 250, which every quarterback has looked like Jesus against us. Taking Love. I like this Philly Tampa Bay over. I mean, I think this is going to be more of like a Rams Philly game where they're going to be scoring some points. So 43.5 is not a lot. Jets money line, Dolphins. I've said this. I know we've all said this. Worst team in the NFL. Jets should win this. I like a Jordan Mason touchdown this week.
Yeah.
I got him in fantasy. I mean, this Steeler defense is the highest paid in the league and probably the worst in the league, except for the Cowboys. Then I got the Ravens money line against the Chiefs. So it's my best bets.
Chase.
I think the Texans do get it done against the Titans, and I think this is probably a week where it's a must-win game for them. If they start 0-4 with all the expectations here in Houston, honestly, I think that their season's done once they go 0-4. So this is a game I think they'll pull some trick plays out of the bag. I think Nico and CJ start really lighting it up, and I think they run up the score just to get that offense going. So pretty confident with, taking the Texans to cover this week. And then Cowboys money line. I'm a believer. I'm optimistic. I think, very optimistic about this. This, could definitely go the other way. But, I got to ride for my boys. Then obviously I think the Bears will definitely cover. I think that's too short a gap. I think they're a lot better than Las Vegas. And then I think Jacksonville, San Francisco is going to be a really low scoring game. I don't see a lot of points getting put up either side. I think Jacksonville does win that game, but it's going to be tight. It'll be very tight, and I think it's going to be a low scoring game, kind of like what we saw with Jacksonville. And San Francisco last week. Both teams didn't put up more than 20 points. So, and then obviously we don't have to talk about the Bills. Bills are going to thrash the Saints. It's free money. So
yeah, lay a $1,600 wager on the Bills, and you can win $100.
Let's go.
Yep.
Moving on.
It's free money.
It is.
Free money,
You
$300.
can literally print money on this game. Waiver wire must-haves for week 4. Dude, I picked him up. You saw it.
Yeah.
Dude, Trey Tucker is the go-to guy right now for Geno Smith. He has averaged 21.77 points per week in a PPR league. He is 7% rostered in Yahoo Fantasy Leagues. They are going to continue to feed him. He has had 8+ targets the last 2 weeks, and I think he had 6 week 1. Give me Trey Tucker. Luke, I have not heard of this dude.
So this is for any leagues because you stole my pick. Because I have work, I can't fill this out till I get home. So of course you stole it, and Chase had Trey Benson, so I was like, crap. If you have kick return yards in your league, this man is a dog. He's getting like 90 kick return yards a week, and he's getting like 2 or 3 receptions. So it's not like he's dormant on offense, and he's getting rush yards. Never heard of him, but he's got 15 points a week because he's getting so many yards on return. So if your league counts return yards, I'd pick him up.
Malik Washington. Never even mentioned his name, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Plays for the Dolphins. Chase. Obvious pick here.
Layup this week. I mean, I think, he's been electric for them as a number 2 back to James Conner, and he's going to get his chance to show, why they drafted him pretty much. He was pretty highly sought after back out of Florida State, going in the third round, which now third round running back is, expected to contribute right away. So I'd assume he has a pretty good week this week being the guy in Arizona. And, when I made this pick, he wasn't even rostered. He was like at 27% rostered. So, it's gone up a little bit because everybody's kind of feeling the same way. But I mean, I feel like this is the number one waiver wire pickup this week.
100%. Moving on now. Well, there it is. It's Ryder Cup week. The United States
Ryder
faces
Cup,
off against
baby.
Europe in a good old-fashioned golf match. I'm just going to start off by saying I love the crowds at these events. They get way into it. We need more golf events like that. Not like the live level where they're like play music the entire time and all that. But like it's quiet, but the crowd is the atmosphere. It's going to be so patriotic in New York. I love it. They're already chirping the European, I almost said it, guys during practice rounds. So I'll just go over and give a little condensed breakdown of the teams. Captain Keegan Bradley, captaining your American golf team. Vice captains, didn't even know this was a thing until I looked it up. Jim Furyk, legend. Brant Snedeker, Vanderbilt alum. Gary Woodland, Webb Simpson, and Kevin Kisner are players. The number one player in the world, Scotty Too Hottie Scheffler. JJ Spawn, who has been on a heater this year in the PGA Tour.
Peter.
Xander Schauffele. We'll see if he can have a little bit of bounce back in the Ryder Cup, but he's a veteran. Russell Henley. Harry English. Bryson DeChambeau. Wild card, my favorite player in golf. Justin Thomas. My least favorite pick on the team, Colin Morikawa. Ben Griffin. And Cam Young. Patrick Cantlay, who takes way too long to hit the ball. And Sam Burns. For Team Europe, Luke Donald. Vice captains, Thomas Bjorn. Jose whatever. Eduardo Molinari. Francisco Molinari. Alex Noren as their players. Rory McIlroy. Robert McIntyre. Tommy Fleetwood. Justin Rose. Rasmus Højgaard. Tyrrell Hatton. Shane Lowry. John Rahm. Sepp Straka. Victor Hovland. Ludwig Oberg. Be careful, you might pronounce it wrong. And Matty Fitzpatrick. Guys, our hearts want to say USA win this. And I think they do. Home
Patriotic.
Yeah.
USA's winning it all the way. We got the number one player in the world. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Scotty's going to lead us.
Scotty
to victory,
Scheffler
so.
and Bryson DeChambeau are the difference makers for this team. You're playing at home.
Mhm.
The U.S., it's been like an attitude the entire time leading up to this. The U.S. is going to win this, and I think they win it handily. I'm going to let Luke say anything, and then Michael kind of give us like the elite golf knowledge you have on this, because we really can't talk too much on this. I'm a hockey football guy. You're the golf guy. But Luke, I know you got some stick and ball knowledge.
I think Cantlay's a difference. He's played really well in all
Yes.
no cap. I mean, I think he's a very big difference maker. I think Bryson is really good with getting the crowd going. I think that's another thing is with this American. This is a bucket list event. Like
100%. I want to go so bad.
Yeah, man.
Be drunk at 9 a.m. and just be screaming at golfers. It'd be awesome. But I got one thing to say. Part of my language, but what the fuck is a kilometer? USA, baby.
Michael,
Yes, sir.
now that the three guys that like watch golf but don't, embrace it as you do, tell us who wins and why they actually win.
All right, y'all ready for some nerding out in this golf world?
This is your alley, dude. Take the floor.
All right, so I was listening to the Golf Channel today.
Wow.
And,
All right, so let's take a pause right now. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, first off, for guys who don't know the format, so Friday and Saturday is pairings, and in the mornings it is alternate shot, and then in the afternoons it is best ball, and then Sunday is obviously the single pairings. So they haven't come out with the pairings and everything yet. I would love to have known that, like to break it down, but they haven't come out with it yet. But They were saying that like a lot of the holes for like the United States, the big thing is going to be Bryson being able to drive it way farther. He's one of the guys. There's only 6 guys on both teams total that drive it over 300 yards, and obviously Bryson drives it the farthest. But they're saying that a lot of the even holes. So like how the alternate shot works is like one guy tees off on all the odd holes and one guy tees off on all the even holes. And apparently, a draw is really good for all the even holes. So you're gonna want your guys that draw the ball really good teeing off on the even holes. So like Rory, Bryson, like those kind of guys are gonna be teeing off on the even holes. But to be honest, I was looking at the pairings and like it's gonna be tough for the United States to pull it off. You're gonna have from the projected ones that's predicted is Rory and Tommy who are great together. You're going to have Rom and Hatton, who are on the same live team together. You have Oberg and Fitzpatrick. And then they're talking about having Lowry. They're having a combination of like Oberg, Lowry, Fitzpatrick. And I think it's going to be either Straka or Rose. So they have a pretty loaded team. But I think the home field is where it's at. And I think Bryson DeChambeau is the difference maker getting the crowd in. And I think the sneaky player that is going to flip the script is going to be Cam Young.
There you go. A way more in-depth analysis of the Ryder Cup. We're riding with USA all the way. And to finish up our podcast, as we always do on a Wednesday, hot and not, a little homage to our favorite podcast, at least mine. Pardon my take and the inspiration of all this. My hot is this weekend, dude. It is loaded like a baked potato. Holy crap. Elite slate of college football. Elite Ryder Cup action. Great slate of NFL. Great UFC fight night. There aren't enough TVs unless you are at the Wallman household, who have 4. So I will be spending my entire weekend over at Luke's house to watch all the action. Why not? NFL field goal operations really took a beating this past Sunday with all the blocked field goals. And I saw a long snapper, my boy. I've personally trained with him. We are friends on Snapchat and Instagram. Alex Ward, snapper for the Rams, went to UCF. Was getting clowned hard. Love you, my boy. But you are pretty much the reason for my not. You actually did not go into protection, dude. Even I know that shit, and I only played college. Luke, I've got to know what the hell you're talking about.
My hot. Delaware is playing FIU last week. There's a minute left in the game, and they're like, oh, they're just going to run it out. FIU goes in a 2-minute drill. Now, these Delaware announcers are like, what are they? They literally roast them for 2 minutes straight. It's like, what is FIU doing? And it's like, well, FIU is never going to do this in an actual game. So they're going to get practice now since there is a minute left. They spiked it on the 2-yard line with 3 seconds left. These dudes were not happy. They wanted to get home from watching Delaware and like go to bed. It was actually very comical to watch. I recommend all.
I'm going to pull this up.
So I have 2 knots. Now I'm going to get into my smaller knot because I saw this on Twitter while I was at practice. Thierry Darlin will be playing at Santa Clara this year after playing in the G League for 2 years. I don't know how that makes sense. That is not how that's supposed to work. If you go to the G League, you are a professional. He went to the G League Ignite, and then he played – what's the other team? He played on the Delaware Bluecoats. So I don't understand how he's able to go back to college after going to the pro, but it's a whole other thing that we'll wait for the –
I cannot wait for this knot. Go ahead.
fantasy. I was playing Miss Trisha, Will's mom, and I am up 20 points heading in. I have Goff and Gibbs. She has Lamar and Montgomery. Now, I knew it was going to be tough with Lamar because Lamar's a great player, and I thought Gibbs would be able to hold his own. I did not expect David Montgomery to go stupid. Go down when you're running down the field. Go down. Don't score. Just go down. Anyways, that's not the worst part. They get the ball back.
This is elite.
We go incompletion. 2nd down. Sack. 3rd down, Lamar checks it down. I'm up by 2 points at this point. Lamar Jackson throws it to his running back. He breaks 3 tackles and Dawson gets the first down, so I lose the game. And all the guy had to do was tackle him. If you remember about 3 years ago, I had the second or third most points in the league, and I did not make the playoffs. I already have the second most points in the league. If this is a repeat, I will quit fantasy football. I literally started throwing shit in my room after that happened. I almost threw my laptop. I was throwing pillows. I was throwing all my blankets off my bed. I literally was throwing my shoes. I was so livid. It's tackling. I teach it to my middle schoolers. It is not that hard. That is my knot.
You're hot knot.
Well, you know, my boys, my Red Devils, my Manchester United Red Devils.
No, hold on.
Finally got a
Hold
signature
on.
win.
Time out. I'm
win
cutting you
this
off.
season.
I'm cutting you off. I'll let you finish. Our first episode of this podcast, my hot was a little known team called Grimsby Town. Are you familiar with Grimsby Town?
Oh, I'm very familiar with Grimsby Town. We're not gonna talk about that here. We're gonna
Go
move
ahead.
past that. The boys are back playing some proper football, man. Looked really, really good against Chelsea first half. Casemiro gets a red card, and they hold on against a pretty solid Chelsea team that just won the Club World Cup. So pretty ecstatic for the Red Devils there. Then my knot last weekend, I worked back-to-back 14-hour shifts. So, you know, worked 28 hours and 48. So, you know, just pretty much had time to eat, sleep, and shit, pretty much. So, you know, that's a pretty bad beat there.
My knot was about to be I'm working this Sunday from 5:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. However, my day was made when I found out the Vikings were playing in the morning because I was like, I mean, shit, fuck this. I'm just gonna watch the game on my phone and not work. So that has been episode 9 of Swiss Army Sports. This has been Will Spain
Luke Wildman.
and our guest.
James Cross, I appreciate y'all boys having me
Dude,
on.
we appreciate you coming on. You will absolutely
Be back.
absolutely be brought back on. You have elite ball knowledge. We enjoy talking to you. Fun having you on. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Appreciate y'all boys. It was a blast.
Absolutely. If you're listening to us on Spotify, go follow us on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, go check out our Spotify. We're also on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. If you just look up Swiss Army Sports, we're a pretty unique name. You're going to find us. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night.